a man-made creed. We'll go together. After 2, 1. We'll stand together. That will be our opening song. Hymn number 5, 2, 3. We'll go together. After 2, 1, 2. My faith has found a resting place, not in a man-made creed. I trust the ever-living one, that he for me will plead. I need no other evidence, I need no other plea. It is enough that Jesus died and rose again for me. Enough for me that Jesus saves, this ends my fear and doubt. A sinful soul, I come to him, he will not cast me out. I need no other evidence, I need no other plea. It is enough that Jesus died and rose again for me. My soul is resting on the word, the living word of God. Salvation in my Savior's name, salvation through his blood. I need no other evidence, I need no other plea. It is enough that Jesus died and rose again for me. The great physician heals the sick, the lost he came to save. For me his precious blood he shed, for me his life he gave. I need no other evidence, I need no other plea. It is enough that Jesus died and rose again for me. You may be seated.
Sorry, brethren, that should be you. Should remain standing as we are going straight into this afternoon activity. So please stand. We're just going to do a prayer as we go straight into the objective of the AY, which is our presentation. Elder Thomas will come and tell us some more. Those who are online, invite others to join in. We are going to now pray as we prepare to go into this presentation. Heavenly Father, thank you so very much for your Sabbath. Thank you, O God, that we have this opportunity to meet in this fashion. And in the Sabbath, as you healed, then we are going to learn about how we can heal our body without taking all the unnecessary chemicals to cause damage. But may it be, O God, as this presentation is shared, may the presenter be guided by your Holy Spirit. May all of us who listen on appreciate the information and take it within the context in which it is being shared, so that we are not led to do outside of what you want to be done for us based on where we are at on our health journey. Please guide our minds, and those who are online also, guide and protect their minds, that the equipments remain up and running so that they can get the full of the information that is being shared. When all is said and done, oh God, just give us one more opportunity that we can appreciate our bodies and what it is that can be done so we can remain as healthy as you want us to. Forgive us, Lord, for our shortcomings. Forgive us for failing, doubting, and not trusting your words. And may we learn to do better and be able to apply it from here on in. We give you thanks in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Is our health director here? Not yet. Thank you very much, praise team, and then Leader Paula. This evening, I've been telling you a number of weeks now that we'll be having this diabetes awareness presentation. And the time has finally come, and we are gathered here for that. Just going to give a brief introduction of the presenter, whom I, as you heard this morning, whom I've met since 1974, when we journeyed from our hills and valleys to the Michael University College on Marasca Road. That time it wasn't University College, it was just Michael Teachers College. And since that time, we have been friends. He was at my wedding, and I was at his wedding. And so the friendship, although he has migrated, has continued over the years. So Tony was born in London and raised in Jamaica. Came to Happy Grove High School, Morant Bay High School, and then at Michael Teachers College. We graduated there. He taught English and religious education in high schools in Kingston. And he returned to England in 1979. There he continued working and also studying. Went to Birmingham, University of Birmingham, where he did his master's and bachelor's degree. For nearly 8 years, from 2012, Tony has been a diabetes UK community champion, and he will tell you more about that. He has done very, very well. This is not his first visit to Jamaica, but he has done several presentations here in Jamaica. The last time he was here, my wife and I, we visited him at Church of the Ascension, where he did one of the presentation in Mona. And I said, whenever he's coming back here, we would really want to get him at our church. Tony has, because of the work he has been doing, he has been to several Seventh-day Adventist church. In fact, when he was on campus, he's the only one, Brother Derek, who is not an Adventist up to now. But when he was on campus at Michael, everybody thought he was an Adventist because he moved around all of us who were Seventh-day Adventists. Most of his good friends on campus were Seventh-day Adventists. But Tony has been doing this diabetes work, as I said, from 2012 on for a number of years, and has been recognized by the government of his country, the British government, and so on the King's birthday list, he was given the British Empire Award, the British Empire Award. That is an award like what we give in Jamaica, the CD and the OD and those type of things. Then he woke me up one day to tell me that the University of Warwick has bestowed on him an honorary doctorate, Doctor of Science degree. And we are very excited and happy to congratulate him. Michael has also awarded him certificates too and awards from here for his great work that he has been doing in the work. So Tony's married, his wife Rose. They both live in Birmingham, England, and they have one daughter who is an opera singer, Abigail. She's married. Not sure of her married name, but Abigail is their pride and joy. And so this evening, it gives me great pleasure to welcome and introduce to you Mr. Anthony Kelly, pet name Tony Kelly. Put your hands together as we welcome Mr. Tony Kelly. Thank you.
Thank you. Huh? Can you bring up the slides, please? Sorry, can you put it on full screen, please? So let me put it on full screen. Yes, it's there now. Okay, I'm ready. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Am I being heard? I'm being heard. First of all, can I thank my batchmate from 1974, Dr. Marston Thomas, for inviting me here to the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Washington Gardens for this presentation. The children in the corner there, I'm from a teaching background. They're going to have to be quiet. That's my starting point. The children there must be quiet while I'm doing the presentation. So whoever's in charge of them, please make sure that they're quiet. So thanks, Dr. Marston Thomas, for inviting me to Washington Gardens Seventh-day Adventist Church for doing this to do this diabetes awareness presentation. I'm going to start by bigging up the Seventh-day Adventist churches, because I do these presentations all over the world. And the people who engage me the most, I'm Church of England, or what we call Anglican. The people who engage me the most are the Seventh-day Adventists. In terms of health and well-being, they are far ahead of any other denominations. So give yourselves a round of applause, please. Right, so moving swiftly on as we go. As I was said, my name is Tony Kelly. I'm a diabetes ambassador or activist. And I'm going to take you on a journey which starts off with our health is our wealth. Our health is our wealth. All of those things you're seeing on the screen there, I won't mention any of them except the mobile phone. I'll ask you kindly to put it on silencer, or if you're going to take images, then make sure it's on silent so it doesn't ring in the presentation. The others you all know about because you visit here all the time. That is me as a cheeky little boy before I left England to come to Jamaica. You can tell that is not hot, sunny Jamaica. I'm either in a cardigan, a sweater, or a jumper. That's cold England, way back in the day, okay? So my parents, my mom and dad, sent me off to the land of their birth, a little district called Whitehall in the parish of St. Thomas, where I was raised by my grand-aunt, who was a teacher, my grand-uncle, and my grandmother. I start with a health disclaimer. I am not a dietitian. I'm not a diabetic nurse. I'm not a doctor. I am not a healthcare professional. I'm going to share with you on this journey my lived experience of having this medical condition, diabetes, for the last 20 years this December, but I've been fortunate enough to have never taken medication. No tablet, no pill, no potion. And you're going to find out why. Not everybody is going to be as fortunate as I am, but that's my starting point, my health disclaimer. So as a child growing up in Jamaica, I would see relatives of mine who had strokes, relatives of mine who were completely blind, relatives of mine who had heart attacks. Some used to have to leave the country area to go into Kingston, because the Princess Margaret Hospital did not have a dialysis machine back in those days, to have their kidneys seen to. Have their kidneys seen to. Some of my relatives had lower limb amputations, chopping off of toes and feet. And I would ask these relatives of mine, what is the matter with them? All they would tell me is they have a touch of sugar. You know it has a touch of sugar? That's what they used to call it back in the day when I was growing up. They never even said just sugar, touch of sugar. So they minimized or trivialized or downplayed this very, very serious medical condition by referring to it as a touch of sugar. Now, ladies and gentlemen, so far you heard me say the word medical condition. I know there are nurses in here, there are healthcare professionals in here, and when you look at the textbooks and when you look on the internet, it is referred to as diabetes as a non-communicable disease, NCD, or an acute disease or a chronic disease. When I was trained 12 years ago by Diabetes UK, they said, Tony, we want you to call it a medical condition. You don't have a disease. So don't make nobody tell you say you have a disease. So anytime you hear me say medical condition, I am basically referring to what you probably know as a non-communicable disease, acute disease, autoimmune disease. So fast forward, when I went back to England, I went from the teaching into the probation service and became a probation officer and a senior probation officer. And went about my life until 19 years ago, my wife noticed the 4 T's. T for tired, T for toilet, T for thirsty, and T for thinner. I was displaying those 4 classic symptoms that I might have diabetes. As you heard me say at the beginning, it runs in my family. So it was hereditary that I was possibly going to develop this medical condition. But I was in denial, like most men are. Women in here, you have husbands, fathers, uncles, etc. Most men are in denial. They bury their head in the sand like the ostrich at the first sign of danger. And I'm going to interact with you. Yes or no, does the problem go away? Come on. No. So I was in denial when my wife kept nagging me. I would get up 4 or 5 times during the night to go and use, in Britain we say the loo. You were here over here, you might say the bathroom or the toilet. And I could take the nagging from my wife no more, so I went one morning early with a sample of urine before eating anything to the GP, and she put the dipstick in, held it up to the light, and she said there is blood glucose or blood sugar. It's the same thing in your urine, and there shouldn't be any. So she sent off a sample of my blood from the arm to the lab, instead of just the urine now. It came back as an early Christmas present, this December coming 20 years, that I have type 2 diabetes. But you heard me say earlier, it runs in my family. It's hereditary. I had to make decisions. Do I still eat 6, 7, 8 tablespoons of rice and peas, which me love? Or do I make the lifestyle or behavioral changes to keep the complications I alluded to at bay? So, by the time I finish here, you're going to change your diet, those who haven't changed your diet yet, because you can't eat 6, 7, 8 tablespoons of rice and peas. That is a recipe for disaster. So I made these changes in my life and have managed to live with this medical condition, or if you want to call it a disease, for so long without any medication whatsoever. Then I went for 14 years in the probation service without a day off sick. My boss at the time said to me, I want you, because you've got the gift of the gab, you can chat, you articulate, you're eloquent, typical Myconian. We can chat for Britain, you know, or for Jamaica. So she said, I want you to go to Wolverhampton, which is 9 miles up the road from Birmingham, and I want you to tell people up there, how do you manage your diabetes, manage and control it without medication? So I went, and Diabetes UK were at the event. Diabetes UK is a well-known, recognized charity in Britain. And they came up to me and they said, come over to Macedonia and help us. You really can engage with people. And I said, can I? And they said, yes. So they trained me, and I was with them for a while, and then I got pinched or poached by the NHS Birmingham and Solihull Integrated Care System. Before I talk about diabetes, I big up my family. Some of you might remember, some of you might have been in England at some stage, in Britain. The Second World War was 1939, and it finished in 1945. The National Health Service was formed in 1948. So after Hitler and the Germans had bombed Britain, there was this slogan, your country needs you. So people came from Britain. They went to Asia, Africa, and the Caribbean to recruit bus conductors, bus drivers, factory workers, nurses, etc. And that was the same era, 1948, when the first Windrush ship landed in London, in Tilbury Docks. So the woman in the middle is my aunt who came from Bath, St. Thomas, Jamaica, to train as a state registered nurse, SRN. My mother in the picture on the left, the only black person there, came the following year in 1954 to train as a state registered nurse. Their sister, my aunt, came 2 years later in 1956 also to train as a state registered nurse. So I call them the 3 degrees. You remember that pop group? That's what I call them. So when I see pictures of the 70th anniversary, and we just had the 75th anniversary of the National Health Service, and they show pure white people, I tell them to get real. Black people helped to build Britain up. Are you with me? So we have to change the narrative. We have to make sure these youngsters here know black people played their part in building Britain up again to whatever it is, okay? So anybody who want these pictures, I'll gladly let you have them. They're not there just because some people say, why do I have to big up my family? If I don't do it, who is going to do it? And I have the perfect opportunity to do it. That's why I do it. And I make no bones about that. Moving swiftly on, before going to diabetes, when I was a child growing up, every time I made a beeline to the kitchen in Whitehall, St. Thomas, my grandaunt as a teacher, my grandmother and granduncle would say, in pure Jamaican language, go take your book. Boys were never allowed in my day of growing up in the kitchen. And the same happened in the primary school I went to. Boys did woodwork and auto mechanics and plumbing, and the girls did home economics and baking and sewing. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have got to stop that gender divide. Boys need to learn to cook, and girls need to learn to do auto mechanics and change the wheel on the car, etc. Are you with me? I'm keeping it very real. I'm amongst my Jamaican audience. So, Tony Kelly couldn't even boil an egg. Trust me. So in 2008, my daughter gave me 15 Caribbean cookery classes all the way from where I lived to go all the way over to Sutton Coldfield to learn to cook. Because I used to come home from work and lording it, reading the newspaper or what have you, waiting on my wife and daughter to come home and cook. So can't cook, won't cook. I never learned to cook. Just remind yourself, when you watch any of the programs on television, the cookery programs, let me engage you. What gender are most of them? Come on. Men. So this issue of men, oh, you can't cook, won't cook, you mustn't be in the kitchen. We need to get real. You know how much sugar, how much salt, how much oil, how much saturates you're putting in your food. So that's me in my pinafore. I'm learning to cook, my apron, and you ask yourself the question and answer it. Who do you think is the best cook now in the Kelly household? I'll leave that one with you, okay? But moving swiftly on, back in Britain, they say a lot about hard-to-reach communities. You'll see the white professor and the academic and the consultant, because I go to a lot of these events, and they get up and they talk about hard-to-reach communities. When they finish the presentation, mine is the first hand to go up, and I say, excuse me, could you tell me who are you referring to as the hard-to-reach community? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the brighter. Can you sit down? Okay, I get it, I understand. So, listen, focus this way, please. Then they would say to me, when I ask them, who? The Brighton and Stadium bulb, the Africans, the Caribbeans, the South Asians, the white working class. I have a ready-made answer for them. I say, are these people you're referring to, are they on Mars, Jupiter, in the rainforest, in the Himalayas, on another celestial body, in the deep blue sea? If they're at any of those places, they would be hard to reach. Are you with me? But we all make up the community, which is why I do, in Britain, 150 community events per year since retirement. I knock on gurdwaras, mosques, residential homes, churches, office blocks, temples, and I go and engage with people. And some people say, well, are you a doctor? Because I have about 10 of these different colors and the hoodies to match. I said, no, but I am a patient with my lived experience. Nobody is hard to reach. And I tell these very top people, the academics and the consultants, if Muhammad can't go to the mountain must go where? Come on. And what I said to them is, you need to get from behind your ivory tower and from behind your laptop and go and engage with black people in the community. Are you with me? If I can do it, so can they. So that's what I do. Instead of saying hard to reach, say historically excluded, historically neglected, historically ignored, marginalized, or underserved communities. I'd agree with those terms, but don't describe any black person as hard to reach. We're not hard to reach. I don't find none of them hard to reach. So moving swiftly on, I mentioned about Muhammad already. So I will go to the rum bar. I will go to the hairdressers. I'll go to the pub. I'll go to the club. I'll go to where they're playing the domino. Just like how, me not say me a Jesus, by the way, you know, but just like how Jesus on earth went to look for fishers, men and women on the beaches, him never going to the churches, him going to the marketplace and on the beaches. That's exactly what I do. So you won't find me at a clinic, a hospital, or a doctor's surgery, because the people at the clinic, the hospital, or the doctor's surgery, they are a captivated or captured audience already there for a reason. So as I said, I go to the rum bar, I go where they're playing domino, or what have you, or where they're playing the cricket match and so on. And the thing with this issue of gender, women at the first sign of a twitch, an ache, or a pain, make a beeline to go see their doctor. Men, they go to the rum bar, they go and play cricket. There's something wrong with them, you know. Or them go and watch a football match or so on. You need to get your men kicking and screaming if you have to go and get their health checks done. Are you with me on that? I'm going to digress 1 minute and share this with you because it's very important. 1 in 4 black men will get prostate cancer. I digress to tell you that. 1 in 4. So this macho manly image of no stoppage of water, as we like to call it, you need to get your men folk to go and get, once they reach age 40, black men are more likely, it's 1 in 8 white men. So I'm telling you, if you send your husband or your father or your nephew or your uncle and him there take too long for pee or him keep going every minute, you need to take them grabbing, kicking and screaming to go see their doctor. Are you with me? Are you with me? I want to hear much better yes than that. And when them say, no, me not go, tell them say, Tony Kelly say, then for go. Because prostate cancer, and then I'll end this bit on prostate cancer, which is that walnut gland situated behind the penis and scrotum, it is one of the easiest cancers to cure if caught early. Have you heard that? Right, we're not saying any more about that. Let's go back to diabetes then. So, I do these engagements, or as I say, all over the place, and I'm moving on, and I now start to give out prizes. Who can name me, and you have to shout it out, one of the top 10 countries where diabetes is rampant? Shout them out. Who said America over here? Open them out and talk, man. Come on, come on. What are the countries? Jamaica. Me know somebody would have said Jamaica. But I'm going to come back to that in a minute. Come on, think. What are the top 10 countries? Huh? Canada, no. 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 Sorry? We are USA already. Africa is a continent, not a country. Me have to go because I'm not going to take all day to forget them. Here they are. What's happening now? 1 minute to feast your eyes on the top 10 countries. You can talk among yourself. 1 minute, then I'll focus again. Okay, that's a minute. Back now, focus please, focus. You will notice in the top 10 countries that number 1 is China. People have this myth, and people said to me in my presentations, me never see one fat Chinese man or fat Chinese woman. How come so many of them have diabetes? If you have the idea that it is only fat, overweight, obese, morbidly obese people who can develop this medical condition, as of today, you are going to get that out of this cranium or this brain. People who are slim, skinny, me I go to Jamaican, mager, can also develop type 2 diabetes. However, this is the issue. Going back to those figures, there are 5 Asian countries in the top 10. China, India, Pakistan, Indonesia, and Bangladesh. 5 Asian countries. Now, if I had a pound for every time I did this event, honestly, I'd be a millionaire by now, because somebody's bound to shout out Jamaica. 3 million people live on the island of Jamaica. Look at the country in 10th place. Why does it keep going off? Look at the country in 10th place. How many people in that country have diabetes? How many people live at Jamaica? So we're not then nowhere near the top 10, please. But every time I do these events, they mention Jamaica. That isn't to say that Jamaica does not have a diabetes problem. Jamaica has a serious diabetes problem, and it needs to be addressed, which is why the likes of me, self-sponsored, I was here 2022, Diabetes Month is the month of November. I'm here again. I go to Dominica, I go to Barbados, I go to Canada. Next year I'm in Antigua, and I'm in Montserrat. I am wanting black people to wake up and smell the coffee or the roses, whichever one you prefer. Are you with me? I keep it very real. And when I'm amongst my Jamaican audience, me break out in the raw part where people say, I thought you say you're born in England. Me born in England, but me grew up in Jamaica. Okay? So I can't be fooled. So, Jamaica isn't in the top 10, neither is England. Every ethnic group can get this medical condition. No ethnic group can escape it. Now, worldwide, in 2021, it is estimated that 537 million people had this medical condition, diabetes. In 2030, it is projected to rise to 643 million people. And by 2045, it is expected to rise to 783 million people. Sometimes people said to me in my events, Tony, 2045 is far away. Let me gonna explain to you why it's not far away. Cast your mind back to the millennium. The millennium was 1990 going into 2000. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what year are we in now? Come on. You see how time has flown? So 2030 ain't that far away, nor is 2045. Then it goes on to mention that globally, this is worldwide, diabetes is responsible for 1 death every 8 seconds. Every 8 seconds in the world, somebody dies from diabetes complications. Usain Bolt now run the 100 meters in 8 seconds and 9 point something at the world record. So that just shows, and it also says at the bottom of that, that it is rising. So when Marston and everybody else invites me back here next time, it won't be every 8 seconds. It will be probably every 6 seconds. It keeps rising, keeps rising. So we've just been through COVID-19 and coronavirus. Trust me, believe you me, the deaths from diabetes are much, much higher yearly than what we went through with COVID-19 and coronavirus, okay? It goes on to say that in 2021, 6.7 million people in the year 2021 alone died from this medical condition, diabetes. That is how serious it is. And why you as a community, as people, need to take it seriously and not just think it's a touch of sugar or, you know, that sort of thing, and minimize and trivialize it. Moving on, in Britain, it's big. It's about 64, 65 million people live in Britain. 5 million people in the United Kingdom have this medical condition, 5 million. But we also reckon, I'm also reckoning in this church as well at the moment, There are 1 million people in Britain walking around with this medical condition and don't even know that they have it because they have not gone to get a diagnosis at a hospital or a clinic or so on. In Britain, the national service is free. And I have to then say to a lot of men and women, want it, can't get it, and get it, no want it. Over here, some of you have to go and pay at a GP surgery or private to get your blood test done. Is that not correct? And here we are in Britain, it's free, and the men and the women just still, especially the black men and black women, don't go annually. And I said to them, this is what I said to them to get home the point. Some of you in Britain drive a Porsche, a Lamborghini, a Volvo, or an SUV. Every year without fail, you take it to get it MOT tested to make sure the brakes work right, the align wheels and everything. I am saying to you, your car, your body, first of all, given to you by Jah, Jehovah, Allah, whoever you worship, is far more important to you than that piece of junk, the Volvo, the Porsche, or the Lamborghini. And people say, Tony, you can't call me car a piece of junk. I say, if you leave it out there, it will rot. It will rot. You are to take yourself yearly and go and get your health checks done. And what we notice here, men in particular, them not like getting no health checks done. You, as of today, say, Tony Kelly say, and I'm taking you dragging and kicking and screaming to go get the health checks done. Because the only way you can find out whether something is wrong with a person is by getting the health, whether it's the blood test, or the blood pressure, or the cholesterol level, or the x-ray, or the CCT scan. Are you with me? I don't know why these men think that they're so immortal. Even when they're dead and I go to their funeral, nothing wrong with them. And that's another day anymore. I'm keeping it very real, okay? So, 1 million walking around, and I would suggest there are people in this room who for the last how many years have never even been to a GP. Before my wife started nagging me, when I went down to see my GP, the GP said, you're Mr. Kelly. I said, what's that supposed to mean? Up to that point, 19 years ago, this evidence showed on the screen, I had not been into a GP surgery in 8 years. And I held my head down in shame. That won't happen anymore now. At the first sign of a twitch and ache or pain, just like how the women them go get them seen to, I do that as well. Moving swiftly on. Those just show how it's gone up from 1998, it was 1.4, to 2018, 3.8, and now we are in 2024, it's gone up to 5 million. Now, 90% of people with diabetes, please remember this, have type 2. And I'm going to explain the difference between type 1 and type 2. But 90% of people with this medical condition, or if you want to call it a disease, have type 2. 8%, only 8%, have type 1. And 2% have rarer types of diabetes, which because I'm not medically qualified, I do not speak about them. I leave that to the professionals, the healthcare professionals. You might not be able to see these graphs, but I'll tell you what they're saying, and I want to see who can answer one of the questions I'm going to ask. Back in Britain, the higher the graph, the more diabetes is in those areas, the higher the graph. So I'll name you some areas. Handsworth, Nechells, Sparkhill, Sparkbrook, Lozells, Small Heath. Those areas are rampant with diabetes. Shout out the answers. There's several answers, but I'm looking for one in particular. Shout them out. Black people live there. Come on, what are the answers? The question is, in the areas that I've just mentioned, the graph is high. The number of people in those areas have diabetes more than Leafy, Harborne, Selly Oak, and Bourneville and Sutton Coldfield. Why? Black people is one answer. Come on. Sorry? Obesity, yeah? I'm looking for a particular answer. I haven't heard it yet. Sorry? Asians? Low income? Diet. Diet. The woman says she worked hard for her book. In those areas, and the same would be the same in Jamaica, every second shop you pass is a fast food, takeaway, or what I call junk food. I am telling you, gentle people, I know on your Sabbath or what have you, but at the weekend, what I'm going to ask you to do, instead of heading, me see some long line from yesterday back down there, Sunday. You know what I talk about. I'm not even going to call the name of the place. But instead of heading there, when I was growing up as a child, religiously, Saturday was Saturday soup. And to this day in our household of 44 years me live in Britain, Saturday is Saturday soup. And over here, they said, no, we can't have soup on a Saturday. All the young people, we have to go to this certain outlet. And if we stop the foolishness. Learn the children, teach the children, I should say, to cook. So they know how much salt, how much sugar, how much oil, how much saturates they're putting in their food. And that's what you need to do. Go back to basics. Cooking, my father used to say, he was a very good cook. And he then taught me even better. But you have to stop eating the junk food. It is doing you no good. First of all, it's salty. I see some of the foods I taste over here and I think, why they put so much salt in the food? It takes away the natural flavor. So use your herbs and spices. But you have to start encouraging your young children to learn to cook. Are you with me? So in the weekend, you prepare 3 or 4 dishes. You put them in the fridge or the freezer. So when you're passing and smelling the and this and that and the other, you think to yourself, me have food in the fridge where we can heat up and warm up. You have prepared it yourself. Are you with me? I'm not just saying these things. I want you to act upon them. That's the whole. We come all the way from England, not just for chat tune. We want to put into practice what I'm saying. Is that making sense? Right, okay? And instead of go buy all of that food at these various outlets, get the tithes to the church. It will be much better that way, as far as I'm concerned. Okay? Moving swiftly on, every week, this is why diabetes is serious in Britain. Every single week in Britain, not every quarter, not every 6 months, every single week in Britain, 500 people die prematurely, or what we would say, gone too. Me amongst the Jamaican audience. When we say gone too in Britain, they say gone too quickly. We say you don't come from Jamaica. We don't say gone too quickly, we say gone too soon. 500 people die prematurely from this medical condition every single week in Britain. Moving swiftly on, 284 have lower limb amputations. My aunt in Whitehall, St. Thomas, she had 3 of her toes chopped off because she had ulcers and sores. They weren't being looked after properly, and she ended up having to have 3 of her toes chopped off. That is an issue for people with diabetes. And even if you don't have diabetes, I'm going to show you some stuff, foot care later on. But every week in Britain, 770 strokes happen from this medical condition. And I'm going to make it clear, from this one dege medical condition. No other one, just diabetes. Every week in Britain, there are 590 heart attacks and 2,300 cases of heart failure related to diabetes. You see how the figures are high? And I would suggest that they're very high in Jamaica as well. Diabetes is also the leading cause of preventable or avoidable sight loss. And I'm going to beg you something. I see some people who are squinting and they can't see the mobile phone or the tablet or the book or the television or the relative. And they tell me in their 50s, 60s, 70s that their sight is failing them. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is nothing to do with old age. It is the diabetes having its wicked way at the back of your eyes, causing you to first have blurred vision and to eventually go blind. So if you notice any of your relatives squinting and looking like that, take them to see the optician first of all, because I have to go every single year. I have perfect vision. I don't wear glasses. But I go every year because I have type 2 diabetes. The optician puts the drops in the eyes. He takes lots of images, send them off to the clinic, and it comes back and it's called diabetic retinopathy screening. It's a big word, retinopathy, but it's to do with the retina. or diabetes eye screening. Not ice cream, by the way, okay? Diabetes eye screening. So they do that, and he comes back and he says, Mr. Kelly, your eyesight is good for another year. There are 4 countries in the Commonwealth where blindness from diabetes is rampant. Blindness. Belize, St. Lucia, Dominica, and Jamaica. If you don't believe me, go and look it up. Those are the 4 countries in the Commonwealth where blindness from diabetes is rampant. So if caught early, the blurred vision, you have to change your diet, you have to do more physical activity, and then it goes away. So that's important. And remember, it is not the optician who can detect or diagnose your diabetes. The only, he or she might notice the things at the back of the eye, but he or she will say to you, go and see your GP and get a blood test, a type 2 diabetes. That's the only person who can diagnose your diabetes, okay? Now, can you all together read, those who are able to, what's at the very bottom? All right, me hear it. But me go put on me teaching hat. That was read very, very funky and weak. I want it to be read with gusto and feeling. Can we all, as Assembly Adventist Church, read what's at the bottom, please? Someone is diagnosed every 2 minutes in the United Kingdom, somebody gets a diagnosis that they have diabetes. I don't know what the figures are like for Jamaica, but I'm sure if you look them up, they will be very high as well. Are you with me? Now, I know you're Seventh-day Adventist, so you don't gamble. But somebody might have won the lotto or the lottery, and look how much it says. That doesn't say 10 million pounds, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It says 10 billion pounds is spent by the National Health Service on this one condition. There are countries in the world that don't have that gross domestic product. Poorer, impoverished countries don't have that amount of money. And here we are in Britain spending 10 billion pounds on diabetes alone. 1 million every hour. The gentleman at the back, you're going to get ready to show the video. 1 million pounds every hour, or 1/10 of the whole of the National Health Service budget. Okay? Now you're going to have a 2-minute slide on what is diabetes. Over to you, sir. Sorry, I'm in your way.
There are 2 main types of diabetes, type 1 and type 2. They're different conditions, but they're both serious. There are some other rarer types of diabetes too. What all types of diabetes have in common is that they cause people to have too much glucose in their blood. But we all need some glucose. It's what gives us our energy. We get glucose when our bodies break down the carbohydrates that we eat or drink, and that glucose is released into our blood. We also need a hormone called insulin. It's made by our pancreas, and it's insulin that allows the glucose in our blood to enter our cells and fuel our bodies. If you don't have diabetes, your pancreas senses when glucose has entered your bloodstream and releases the right amount of insulin so the glucose can get into your cells. But if you have diabetes, this system doesn't work. When you've got type 1 diabetes, you can't make any insulin at all. If you've got type 2 diabetes, it's a bit different. The insulin you make either can't work effectively or you can't produce enough of it. In both types of diabetes, because glucose can't get into your cells, it begins to build up in your blood. And too much glucose in your blood causes a lot of different problems. To begin with, it leads to diabetes symptoms like having to wee a lot, being incredibly thirsty and feeling very tired. You may also lose weight, get infections like thrush, or suffer from slow healing wounds. Over a long period of time, high glucose levels in your blood can seriously damage your heart, your eyes, your feet, and your kidneys. These are known as the complications of diabetes. But with the right treatment and care, people can live a healthy life. And there's much less risk that someone will experience these complications. If you've got diabetes, you can find lots of information and support about living with it using our website and helpline. As well as campaigning for everyone with diabetes to get the right care, Diabetes UK fund research into all types of diabetes so we can develop new treatments and one day find a cure.
One day find a cure. There's no cure for diabetes. Try and remember that, please.
You can find out more about type 1.
Right, now let me just recap. If you want to watch that 2-minute video again, go to the Diabetes UK, which is Diabetes United Kingdom website, and you will see it there. Show your colleagues, your neighbors, your relatives. But I'm going to recap so you get a clear understanding if you didn't, apart from the tired, toilet, thirsty thinner, slow healing of cuts and wounds, and the blurred vision. I'm going to explain to you where the pancreas is. We have a 6-inch gland. Every one of us have a 6-inch gland, which is immediately behind the navel string or belly button, 6 inches in length. It produces the hormone insulin. Without insulin, you will die. You can live without any hair on your head, without any teeth in your mouth or any eyes. You cannot survive without insulin. With type 1, remember it's only 8% of people have type 1, the pancreas stops working altogether. Nothing to do with age, gender, size, ethnicity. It literally stops working. And to this day, nobody knows why. That's type 1. So that happens very quickly. The tired, the toilet, the thirsty, the thinner. You have to see the GP, and you have to immediately be put on insulin injections 3 times a day into the stomach area to keep you alive. Now, Sir Frederick Banting, remember his name, he's a Canadian scientist, 102 years ago, noticed from his lab in Canada, I have been there, but not 102 years ago, by the way. He noticed the Mega dog outside, and with his French student Charles Best, they made up this concoction, man-made, artificial, or synthetic insulin. That was how insulin was discovered 102 years ago. Of course, it's been made better since then. So, World Diabetes Day, which is always the 14th of November, happens to be the birthday of Sir Frederick Banting, who discovered insulin. Are you with me? It happens to be the birthday of the current King of England, King Charles. So type 1 have to inject insulin. The 90% of people who have type 2, like me, hereditary, it can be controlled through a lot of physical activity and diet. Some people with type 2 have to take insulin as well, and some take a well-known drug called metformin. But what you need to understand is there is no known cure for diabetes. Because I have people in England say they send off to the fake, the false, the phony, the quack person on the internet, or it's some WhatsApp message. How you know when they send you the pill or the tablet, what is in it? Horse manure, cow dung, grass? Please do not send off your hard-earned money to anybody who tells you they have a cure for diabetes. There is no known cure, and I've been trained properly to tell you there is no known cure for this medical condition. Others, like type 2, either the insulin is not making enough to regulate around the body, or what it is making, it's not doing its job properly. So, type 2 is different from type 1, where the whole thing packs down. Type 2, insulin is being made, but either not enough or not doing its job properly. Some people said, Tony, the diabetes went away. That's because they lead such a religious, rigid life. They do all the physical activity, and the diet is not hereditary, and they managed to put it in reverse or in remission. If they go back to eating unhealthily and not doing physical activity, ladies and gentlemen, what's going to happen? It's going to come back. So the people who seem to think there's a cure, they think, oh, because they got rid of it. No, if they go back to eating badly and unhealthily, then it will come back. Moving swiftly on. So age is a factor. The older you get, diabetes will come your way. Family history, as in my family. Ethnicity is a factor, which I'm going to come on to. Weight is a factor. Waist circumference. Now, these are some of the issues I'm going to touch on which people with diabetes have. I'll start with erectile dysfunction. It's something you need to know about. The man trying to make love to his partner cannot have an erection because there's too much blood glucose or blood sugar in his penis and basically keeps flopping. That's erectile dysfunction. And it's caused from having too much blood glucose or blood sugar. Now the next one, I made sure to quote the source. Nobody can say, how come Tony Kelly know that? Sexual problems are more common in women with diabetes than in men. That's from page 58 of Diabetes UK handbook, okay? Heart attacks we talked about earlier, strokes, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol. And I'm going to give you one tip, as of now, if you didn't know it before, for high cholesterol. My mother as a nurse passed it on to me way back. If you have high cholesterol, you need to eat your oats porridge of a morning. And I am not talking the refined Quaker or Fosca oats. I'm talking you're going to the bigger supermarkets and you buy the thick rolled jumbo oats. And when you buy the thick rolled jumbo oats, I am not expecting you to then put it in the blender and blend it out. That defeats the whole purpose of the exercise. You are supposed to have the thick rolled jumbo oats just like that with whatever milk you're going to have it with. Are you with me? The refined Quaker and the refined Fosca oats ain't doing your body no good. Cholesterol level. And another thing for reducing cholesterol levels is celery. Chew on celery. Trust me, it works. Okay, and if you don't believe me, you can look it up. Now, next one going down. Who knows what is gestational diabetes? There must be people in here who have had that condition. What is gestational diabetes? Pregnancy. Not type 1, not type 2. It's one of the special types where some women during the pregnancy develop this condition. Once they've had the baby or babies, it completely disappears. But it is warning that pregnant mother that she is at future risk of developing type 2, and the baby or babies she's had are also, as adults, at future risk of developing type 2. That's gestational diabetes, only during the pregnancy. Who knows what is impaired glucose regulation? Any doctors or nurses in the house? Hardly anybody ever knows this. I'll tell you. If you go to the doctor and the doctor says to you, you have impaired glucose regulation, turn to the doctor and say, can you speak the language of the people? Can you keep it simple? What they mean, and if you want to look it up, it means you are borderline diabetes or pre-diabetes. The prefix pre means before. You haven't gotten it yet. That's what impaired glucose regulation means. Borderline diabetes or pre-diabetes. And I have to say, when I go to these big conferences, speak the language of the people. Keep it simple so they can understand. Now, some people, for whatever reason, are on steroids. They might have had a kidney and they have to take anti-rejection tablets for the rest of their life. Or they might have other ailments that they have to take steroids. The asthma, the bronchitis and the asthma, the blue and the brown, those are mild steroids. But people who are on strong steroids for a very long time can end up impacting this pancreas, which is here, and develop steroid-induced diabetes. Tony Kelly is not now saying, oh, because me on steroid out there, I'm going to just dash them away or put them down. Under medical supervision. Have I made that clear? Have I made that clear? But the ones I have a problem with is the ones I see at the gym. I go to the gym, I will see somebody at the gym this week looking like me, or even slimmer than me. 3 weeks' time, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Incredible Hulk, or Mr. Universe. They inject, this is a fact, there are bodybuilders out there at the gym who inject steroids into here and into here to give them more muscle. And I go up to them, because I'm not wearing these, I'm wearing neutral collagen, and I said, I saw you here 2 weeks ago, and you never so briefed up and browned up and so on. You are on steroids, I can tell. And they said, how you know that? I said, how come you bulk up so quickly? If you know anybody in that situation, tell them, do it the natural way. Take 8, 9, 10 months, more than the quick fix. Are you with me? Because if they damage this eventually, this pancreas, there will be no good to anybody at all. Are you with me? Right, now moving swiftly on. We're all black people here. People from African, Caribbean, and South Asian backgrounds are 2 to 4 times more likely to develop type 2 diabetes. 2 to 4 times more likely than white people. That is a fact. Now you're going to ask me why. There are the answers. The DNA, the genetics, the genes, our metabolism, but also white people, by the way, we start getting it from age 25. And apart from the little children in here, most of you are older than 25. So that's when we start getting it. White people start getting it, diabetes, 15 years later at age 40. Overcrowding, if you're living in an overcrowded place, it can be an issue. And this is what I want to point out to you. Stress causes blood glucose levels to rise. If you're under a lot of stress at work, get caught up in the stress every morning going in the traffic, get squeeze ball and keep squeezing the ball to alleviate the stress. If you, in Britain, you have stress from racism, would you mind, please? Stress from racism and women from sexism and so on. You have to keep your stress levels down because you have it over a protracted or long period. It can shoot up the blood glucose levels and cause you to get diabetes. Have I made that crystal clear? So, to relieve stress, pray, meditate, Zumba, Pilates, yoga, aquarobics, go for fast-paced walking, take deep breaths, inhale, exhale, in order to combat and bring your stress levels down. Are you with me? Right, okay? Now, poor diet. I'm going to come on to the diet in a minute, and couch potato lifestyle. Couch potato or sedentary is when you sit on your proverbial for most of the day and think that you're doing fine. No. Movement. You've got to move more. Moving swiftly on. I'm not going to do that one, but I'm going to do this one. And straight away, I'm going to take this from around my waist, from around my neck, and I'm tell you loud and clear, me now run duppy. Those of you who know that. Because I wear this all the time, and people come up to me, wait, you run duppy? I said, no, me not run duppy. This is here for a reason. If you go to the Diabetes UK website, you will remember the Miss World competition or the Miss Jamaica. The perfect model walking down the catwalk was 36-inch bust, a 24-inch waist, and a 36-inch hip, what we call an hourglass figure. If there are any ladies in here with a 24-inch waist, proudly stand up and show us, please. And I'll wait. Anybody? Any takers? All right. Well, this is what Diabetes UK says, not me saying this. All women, no ethnicity barrier, no difference, all women should aim, and it clearly says not the trouser size, not from down here, sir, from the belly button or navel string. What is behind here, gentle people? Come on. The pancreas. All women should aim for a waist measurement from the navel string or belly button of 31.5 inches. Remember, come here, I'll ask you later. 31.5 inches. Now, listen carefully. Some women are bigger in size. We know that. Or they've had children. So let's, for argument's sake, say the woman's waist size here is 40. All I'm begging that woman to do is bring it down from 40 to 38 or 36 to get rid of some of the fat that's around here to allow the pancreas what it should be doing naturally. Are you understanding me? Asian men, because there are 5 Asian countries, I told you at the beginning, in the top 10, Asian men should aim for a measurement of 35 inches. 35 inches. So when I see an Asian man and he's at 44, and he will say to me, oh, Tony, may I watch me weight? It out here, so. I say, you better haul it in. That is too much weight you are carrying. You need to have it. So you're not going to get it down to 35 as an Asian man. But what I'm asking the Asian men to do is bring it from 44 or 46 to 42 or 40, which then will enable the pancreas to produce the insulin to go around the body. Are you with me? White men and black men, ideally, we are allowed a measurement of 37 inches. 37. But again, we might not be at 37, you might be at 46. Try and bring it from 46 down to 44 or 42. Are you with me? Are you with me? Yes. Right, okay. They're very quiet. Toffee. That's a word we use a lot in Britain. Toffee. Thin on the outside, fat on the inside. You will see some really thin, or maybe Jamaican, mager people, and they actually have diabetes. It is because the fat is around the liver, and although they're thin or skinny, and actually around the pancreas. So when you see a thin person and they come up to you and say they have diabetes, don't dispute them. It's not just overweight people or morbidly obese or overweight or fat people. Thin people can also get it. So going to the toilet, tired, toilet, thirsty, thinner, those are the 4 T's. Some people have thrush and genital itching in their private parts, blurred vision, extreme tiredness, and then weight loss. Can you all read what's at the bottom, please? And this is where I beg you, especially with the men. No symptoms, no tired, no toilet, no thirsty, no thinner, no blurred vision, and they're going about their merry life, and then suddenly, them bodies start to pack in. And by the time they get to the GP takes the blood test and say, do you realize diabetes has been in your system for the last 6, 7, 8 years? So that's the point I'm making about making sure men go and get their health checks. Am I making that clear? And not make them sit down there about them are suffering in silence, being macho, manly, and so on. Because if they get told you're pre-diabetes or borderline, they can start to make the lifestyle changes in order to prevent getting the full diabetes. Because once you get it, only a few people can get rid of it. Are you with me? So it's a warning sign there. Moving swiftly on. So eye disease is an issue. Heart disease is an issue, cardiovascular. Kidney disease, and back in Britain, the people who have kidney disease from diabetes the most, when you go into the hospitals, the Asian people, the Indians, the Pakistanis, and the Bangladeshis. Nerve disease, and I'm going to tell you something about nerve disease. I am begging you, I am pleading with you, I'm beseeching you, do not walk around barefoot. Even in the comfort of your home, on the tile or the plush carpet, you have got to wear something on your feet. I'm going to tell you about the story of a chap back in England who, he was in his kitchen on the Wolverhampton Road, a glass bottle fell and broke, and he used a dustpan and brush and picked it all up, swept it all up. However, a splinter remained and went into his big toe. And he was at home, and over here, you're not supposed to know about tembe or stinking toe. Oh, no, what is tembe or stinking toe? The young people, them won't know that, you know, them from a different era. But his toe started getting pus and the festering and smell, proper stinking toe or tembe. And people kept visiting him and saying, you need to go get this treated. And it's typical of most men. They're there with the Dettol and the antiseptic. Eventually, he plucked up courage, went to see his GP. The GP took one look at it and said, gangrene or septicemia has gone into that toe. You have to go down to the hospital. So I went to visit him, and this is a true story. They chopped off his big toe. The gangrene or septicemia had spread to the other 4 toes. They chopped off his other 4 toes. It had spread up to here. They chopped off his leg just below his knee. And they had to fit him, prosthetic limb. That's what they fitted him with. You know what set in? I don't like the word black clouds. No clouds, no black. Dark clouds set in. He drew every blind, every curtain in his house. He wouldn't leave his house for love nor money. Depression set in. This black man said, no, I can't make anybody see me walking around with a prosthetic limb. I heard about it, and because I do a lot of motivational speaking, I rang him up and kept on cajoling and said, you've lost a leg. You haven't lost your life. You are still here to say, you're not pushing up daisies. So try and get, which he did. So I am begging you, when you go to the beach, wear slippers or sandals. And I'm going to show you the ones that I wear. About 10 years ago, my daughter said, Dad, you have diabetes. I don't want a thumbtack or a rusty nail or a screwdriver or so on to go in any sort of thin slippers that you're wearing. They're called Birkenstock. They're very expensive, but me wait till them on sale. Let me buy one, get second half price. If a thumbtack goes into this, or a rusty nail, or a piece of glass, look at the thickness of that. Is it going to get into where my feet are? No, it isn't. So you women in particular who like to walk around with these little sandals and flip-flops, invest in something which is a thicker soled shoe. So when Johnny or Mary drop the thumbtack into the house, or the needle or the pin, because if it goes, I have to go every year to see my diabetic nurse. She tells me to look away, because I have type 2 diabetes, controlled without no medication, and I look away, and she says, did you feel that? And I said, no, you haven't touched me. But she ends up touching all the nerve endings of my feet to make sure I am having the proper circulation, because if you're not feeling the circulation and the thumbtack or the marker or the screwdriver going to your foot, then that is when trouble comes your way. It stays in there and fester. I'm going to teach my granny to suck eggs. Dry between your toes properly. Every time you have a shower or bath, never ever put lotion between your toes. You can put talcum powder, but never lotion. And then you use the lotion to do up here and around here, so. And when I was growing up in Jamaica, we go down the Johnson River, we got this standpipe. Round here, so. This crusty skin, this dead skin. You rub it against the stone. In Britain, me have to go in a Holland and Barrett and Marks and Spencer's, go buy something called a pumice stone. For rub off the dirt, the dry skin. You cannot allow the dry skin to remain there, because if it stays there and builds up, and a marker or a thorn or a screw or something goes in there, that is when it festers. Are you with me? So as of now, all of you who like to wear barefoot, me used to run around barefoot as a little picnic, but not anymore. I have to have on, and I'm suggesting to you, even in the comfort of your home, wear something comfortable. And these Birkenstock, they fit the contour of your feet. They're really, really very comfortable. I don't know if they're here. I haven't seen them here. But that's the issue with the nerve endings. You need to be very mindful of that. Moving swiftly on. If you want to take a picture of this and find out where are you on the diabetes scale, it can work out for you. This is not for people who already have diabetes. You take that picture, it can work out whether you are no risk of reaction. You put in your age, your gender, your ethnicity, your height, all the things it asks you to do. It can work out whether you're no risk, low risk, LOW risk, medium risk, or high risk. That's on the Diabetes UK website. And if you're in the medium or high risk and live in Britain, because you put in your zip code or postcode, it will signpost you to go to about a 9-month diabetes awareness training course for people who are pre-diabetes. They haven't gotten it yet. Those are in Britain now, happening all over the country over the last 5-6 years. I don't think you have it here. Eat a healthy, balanced diet, be more active, and stop smoking. Now I'm going to show you some activity that I'm going to do. First of all, when I left here, there was only JBC television. And in Britain, there was BBC One, BBC Two, and ITV. Every time you needed to change your channel, you got up off this, and you went over and changed the channel. or turn it off, turn it on. No, this is what 99% of you do. Beep, 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 beep. You know what I'm going to ask you to do? I know it gives a joke, but I'm deadly serious. Hide the remote control, or put dead batteries in it, or take out the batteries. And within an hour, honestly, within an hour, if you have to get up from your seat and go over to the television, then some people try to catch me out. Oh, Tony, the smart screen, the flat screen. Then I have no buttons on the side. Every single flat screen television have buttons either at the top, or the side, or at the bottom. So me just tell one man in a harbor view, say, you're lazy, you haven't even looked for see there. It is there. Then, apart from that, please, I'm begging you, start doing that. You would have done some physical activity and allowed the blood to circulate. Are you with me? This is the next one, which is similar. Listen. Alexa, Siri, turn off the light. Alexa, Siri, open the curtain. Alexa, Siri, turn on the radio. Under the bond with Alexa and Siri from for regeneration. If you give me an Alexa or Siri, me tell you to take it back to the shop. Me no want it. You're supposed to get up and turn off the light. You're supposed to open the curtains. You're supposed to turn on it. You need to do more movement. You cannot eat all of this food and then be expected to sit down there, sedentary couch potato. That is when diabetes will come your way. Am I making sense? You have to burn up the calories. Okay? So that's very important. Now, the bus stop. Instead of asking the taxi driver to stop right outside of your yard, you stop the stop before or the stop after. You don't walk slowly as if you're going behind a coffin or a casket at a funeral. You walk briskly, 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 briskly. So you are burning up the calories. The heart is pumping. Are you with me? The next thing I'm going to want you to do, when you go to the supermarket, why you have to park the car right at the entrance? Park the car way down yonder and walk up to the entrance of the supermarket. Then when you go into the supermarket, I'm not so sure about in this country, but the supermarkets in Britain, they have this thing called the travelator. And people just stamp on the travelator, figure out this one. Ask yourself, do you have a travelator at your yard? So if you don't have one in your yard, what the dickens you going into the supermarket, go use a travelator for? Your feet were made for walking. That's what God gave you your feet for. So, so use your feet. And then, when you go into the buildings in Kingston here, 30 stories high. I've always said to Dr. Marston, Thomas, and Hyacinth, if you see me in a lift, elevator, or escalator, come up and slap me. I don't do them. If I have to go into a building which is 40 stories high, my feet were made for walking. I accept some people have mobility issues and disabilities. I rule them out. So when I go into Birmingham City Center, and I say, what floor you want? I say, I'm going up to the 30th floor. And they say, are you Superman? I said, what you mean? How are you going to get up here? Here's the lift. I said, you watch me. The lift's up at the 2nd, the 3rd, the 5th, the 7th, the 9th, the 11th, the 12th. Me reach up at the 30th floor and could have a cup of tea. And I have done some movement to get the heart circling the blood. Are you with me? Not everybody will be able to do that, but that is something you can do. Another one I'll do for you is the group. So here is, this gentleman is going on a walking group, and he's going to call on 4 people. It might be 6 of you. No walking in the hot sun. Walk in the early morning or late at night. So this gentleman calls on Dr. Marston Thomas. He start make excuse saying he head hurt him. He can't go up on the walk. And this man is very assertive, and he says to him, you know, we have 3 or 4 more people to go pick up on the walk. So he finally put on his clothes. Then we go to Shirley, and Shirley is a stickler for punctuality, you know. And she said, what took you so long? And we tell Shirley the story about Dr. Marston Thomas, how he take long to get ready. Then we go to that woman, and she said, oh, me did have one curry last night. I mean, I think me can go. And my head hurt her. And you say to her, the fresh air in the early morning will do you the world of good. And all of you, 6, 7, 8 of you, me not sending you a gym, you know. Me sending you for go walk. Jamaica have more steep hill and gradient and mountain. And when you walk, you talk about the pastor here, you talk about your children, your grandchildren, you talk about Trump and him win the election and he shouldn't did win it, and you talk about your grandchildren and your nieces and nephews, and you walk 2 miles up a hill, which you wouldn't do on your own, but because you're in a group and the faster walkers might go further up the station and wait. Those are things you need to do. Me not say no God, Jim, you know. Right out in our own community, these things can be done. Are you with me? You've got to get off your proverbial, I mean, nearly said the swear word then, but you've got to get off there and do activity that will keep. Then come mango time. Wash your pot, turn it down mango time. And you have 8, 9, 10 mango in front of you eat. Mangoes is natural sugar, fructose. You will pile on pounds. So yes, have the mangoes, but then you go for your walk. Go for your walk. These are the things that I do. I go every week for the last 10, 11 years to an aquarobics class where I stand in the water and you're moving against the floor. So I do aquarobics. I do Pilates. I do yoga every week. I play badminton. I walk a lot. And I also go to a Zumba class. One dege man in a Zumba class with all these women. And I say, I am the rose amongst you thorns. But I am doing it for a reason, because I don't want the complications that I alluded to come my way. For the 70th anniversary of the National Health Service, that's 5 years ago, they said, who can we invite onto BBC television to talk about how they manage and control the diabetes? And everybody said, there's a man in Birmingham named Tony Kelly. He'll be good for the program. The first question the woman asked me when she sit me down on live TV in front of 5 million people watching. So, Mr. Kelly, you are a diabetes sufferer. I said, excuse me? Who tell you I'm suffering from diabetes? I am living with this medical condition. I am managing and controlling it. It is not managing and controlling me. Never ever call me a diabetes sufferer. By the time I get home, my wife, about 20 people call and say, what a good answer you give the woman. You put her in her place. I am not a diabetes sufferer, but I accept there are people who suffer from this medical condition. Are you with me? But Tony Kelly isn't one. And long, touch wood, fingers crossed, and my God who I praise, long may that be the case. Okay? So I'm not having anybody call me a diabetes sufferer. I've seen firsthand in Whitehall, St. Thomas, proper suffering. I ain't prepared to go there if I can help it. The Lord helps those who help. Exactly. I remember a woman once, I'll never forget her. She said, oh, me I've never come at your event because me have diabetes. And if me get it, me will pray to God for a miracle. Me just turn on and say to her, that's one miracle me that tell God not forgive you. Because prevention is better than? Right, okay, you get the gist. All right, so moving swiftly on then. Stop smoking, be more active. The other thing I'll just do quickly with you. Can I have that bottle, please? The bottle. Yeah, thank you. The bottle. It dropped. Plastic bottle. Start, please, I'm begging you, with plastic bottle this size, with water in it. These are your dumbbells. I send you on a big place, we got sports, recreational place, we got buy big time weights. Start with this in the comfort of your home watching TV, and do it competition with your children and grandchildren. And all you're doing, one in this and one in that, Bhangra, reggae, hip-hop, one love. And by the time Dr. Marston Thomas invite me back here, your biceps is out here, so. Mr. Papaya, you must do more physical. You can do it sitting down here. And then you don't want up here so to be nice and well toned and so on. And the feet maga like what? So you have to then work on the feet as well, in order to get into shape. Are you with me? Right, okay. There are lots more physical activity, but there's so many on the internet that you can do, on WhatsApp and all these places that you can do. Find things. 3 years ago during lockdown, Linford Christie, and most of you must know who Linford Christie is. 3 years ago, I saw an article that he does open water swimming. And I thought, well, if it's good enough for Linford Christie, it's good enough for Tony Kelly. Because when I was growing up, my grandaunt said, that her daughter, my mother, sent me from England, and she now allowed me to go to the beach in St. Thomas. She now allowed me to go to the river. She now allowed me to go catch crab or janga, because you will drown. That's still ring up here, sir. You will drown. So I have never learned to swim. When I saw this article that Linford Christie, at his stage of life, learned to swim, I registered where I did my master's degree at Birmingham University. I learned to swim. They moved me from the beginner's class to the intermediary, and just in September, before I came here, the 18th of October, they moved me to the advanced class. So this myth that black people can't swim, they will sink, get rid of. And as for the women, when I see them and tell them, oh, Tony, the chlorine, I'm here. One day you might end up saving your child's life, your niece, your nephew, a little boy, a little girl's life. It is never too late for a shower of, and if me can learn to swim, so can you. So starting at, me go to the beaches over here, and me say all of the black people then just a paddling they can't go swim because they have never learned to, and they're surrounded by the Caribbean Sea. Come on, get real here. It is one of the best forms of physical activity that you can imagine, okay? You want a break?
Oh, Dane? Vesper, you ready?
Catch
All
my
right.
breath.
Yeah, just a prayer.
A break for the Vesper.
All right, Mr. Kelly, as Seventh Adventist, as you know, the sun starts, the Sabbath begins on Friday evening and ends on Sabbath, Saturday evening, and it's sunsetting time now, and so we have a prayer for God to take us through the week. So we're just going to take a short break, and then we'll get back to your presentation.
Please stand for the Vesper prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for waking us up this morning. Thank you for taking us to church safely and the opportunity to come into your courts once more to worship you. Lord, as we have concluded our week of prayer under the theme, proclaiming the gospel, Lord, help us to live it out in our lives and to share the gospel with one another. As we go our separate ways, take us home safely, grant us journeying mercies, and take us through the upcoming week safely. In your name I pray. Amen.
Thanks for that. So it will come back up again. Hello? What do I do? What, does he bring it back up? Oh, it's there. Right, okay. I'll quickly go through these because I know time's going and we need to get. I have, listen, focus please, focus. I have the sickle cell trait. I don't have the full-blown sickle cell anemia. If my wife had the sickle cell trait, our daughter could possibly have been born with sickle cell anemia. Now, you know what sickle cell anemia is, where, you know, the blood crisis and the pain and so on. But I cannot do the standard, which most people can do, HbA1c, which the doctor or nurse through the clinic can tell you what you've ate or drank for the last 2 to 3 months. I cannot do that. I have to do one, because I have the sickle cell trait, fructosamine, which only tells the doctor or the clinic or whoever what I've ate or drank for the last 2 weeks, under the last 2 weeks. And as black people, you need to know whether you have the sickle cell trait, the sickle cell anemia, or another condition called thalassemia. And if so, you need to do the fructosamine test. So sometimes when I go and they do the bloods, and they're going to put on the cap a red cap, that is wrong. They are supposed to put on it, although they write fructosamine, they must put a yellow cap on it to distinguish it and differentiate it from the HbA1c blood test that they're going to send off. Are you with me? So keep your beady eye if you have sickle cell anemia, or if you have thalassemia. What are they putting on the label, the little cork? If it's red, they put the wrong one on. It has to be yellow in color. Are you with me? Are you with me? Yeah. Right, okay, moving swiftly on. Pernicious anemia. A few years ago, I was very tired, and I went to see my doctor, and the doctor said to me, "You have pernicious anemia." Never heard the words before. And I said, "What is that, doctor?" He said, "You are lacking in vitamin B12. And B12 comes from animals. Animals produce B12. So if you're vegetarian, you have to take B12 supplements or B12 tablets." So I said, "How are we going to cure this, doctor? What are we going to do?" He says, "Because you type 2 diabetes, you have pernicious anemia, you're going to have," listen to this, "every 3 months an injection in your bottom." Mr. Doctor, you can wheel and you can turn and you can come again. That ain't happening. So I went home to the Pernicious Anemia Society website. I have a lot of doctors and nurses in the family, and we looked it all up, and I changed my diet to make sure I took all the various things. Then I went back 3 months' time, because this is what I did. Holland and Barrett, one a day, slow release B12 tablet, just one a day. And then I take Floridix. My wife prefers one called Metatone Tonic, because older people tend to sort of fall asleep, and they get lethargic, and they get tired. Floridix has B2, B6, B12, no preservatives, no colorings, no lactose. That's what I did. Then I went back to the doctor, and he says, "Your B12 is now in the proper range." And I just looked straight upon him and said, "So what did Dickon she was wanting to joke me in my bottom every 3 months for the rest of my life? Get real." So that is what I'm saying to you. When you go and see your GP or your doctor, you need to open your mouth and talk and ask them questions. "Why have you given me that tablet? Then you give me that other tablet and that other tablet." Sometimes people coming out of the doctor and you're like a medicine chest with 6, 7 different tablets. You need to open your mouth and talk. My grandmother used to say to me, believe it or not, I was a shy child. Open your mouth and talk. Me not stop talk. Okay? So the point I'm making, we can send those around, but I must get them back, please. I won't bother with blood pressure, but kidney stones. A few years ago, I had the most almighty pain on one side of me. And I said to my wife, "I'm in pain. I think my appendix has burst." My wife, as a primary school teacher, turned to me and said, "Which side is hurting you?" And I told her the side. She said, "Don't be silly. Your appendix is not on that side." I said, "How am I supposed to know? Me in a pain." So the ambulance came, took me to the hospital. I passed out the kidney stones, but when I was being discharged, the doctor said to me, "Tell me something about your diet." And I proudly said to him, "I drink cow's milk. The more fat and the cream on the top of the cow's milk, the better." He said, "You know what you do for me? Go into your communities and tell them cow's milk is for the formation of teeth and bones in babies and children. Adults do not need to drink cow's milk." Did you hear that? You are to go for plant-based milk. Some of them taste bad like what, but you get used to them. Oat milk, rice milk, almond milk, oat milk, rice milk, almond milk. There's 2 others. I'm going to come on to soya. Coconut milk, good old coconut milk. And there's 1 milk. But they're all plant-based milks. That's the key. They're all plant-based milk. Now, some of you shouted out soya. The soya plant, the normal soya plant, attracts a lot of pests. They spray it with pesticides, chemicals. It ends up in the food chain and can be carcinogenic or cancerous. So if you're going to have soya milk, it has to be the one which has been organically farmed and is therefore not the regular soya milk. Are you with me? If it says organic on it, then that will be fine. But the normal soya milk, that have all sorts of things going on with it. But go for plant-based milk. As I said, some of them taste bad like what. But that's the issue. Look at the people who get diabetes the most. Number 2 going down. Why? Why? Come on, why are the people number 2? The taxi driver, the bus driver, the van driver, the truck. Why? Huh? They're sitting down all day, and by the time they go home, the TV, I watch them, more than them I watch the TV, them go up to bed, and the routine starts again, and that's the pattern. And them not doing no physical activity. Notice so far, I have not used the word exercise. Exercise conjures up images. I want you to go where? Come on. Where do I want you to go? Gym. And that's not what I'm asking you to do. Gardening is physical activity. Mowing the lawn, sweeping the yard, doing the windows, cleaning the windows. All the walking is physical activity. Then for the kids, may I beg you, get them off the Kindle and the mobile phone and the PlayStation and the this and the that. Let them go, they go play scotch or whatever they call it, and hockey and cricket and football and run and jump and what have you. You cannot have kids all day, all night. Then you send them to bed and you take the Kindle off them or and under the sheet, then they play the game. And they're tired like well, when you wake them up in morning time, by the time they get to school, they fall asleep. You have got to be in control of your children and grandchildren's lives and make sure they put these devices away and go outside and play. Are you with me? Every minute me outside since me coming because in Britain we don't get much sun. And I'm saying in St. Diego Heights and people passing by and wondering, is something wrong with that man? Why is he lying on the grass? At the sun me are getting on my body. Melanin, because we don't get that often in England. Not now anyway. Now it's winter, you know? But you have the sun out here, use it and make use of it. You know, if you have to put a hat on, then fine. But you need to, we as black people, it takes longer for the sun to penetrate our skin than it does white people. But you need, that is why so many people in England, our immune system was compromised. Why so many black people died from COVID-19 and coronavirus. They need to, and especially in the winter months, some people tend to take vitamin D tablets because we just not get the sun. It dark like this for most of the day. Okay? So nobody come to England. Right. Take your medication. Social prescribing is a big word now in Britain. Really, really big word. Social prescribing means instead of the doctors giving you medication, they sit you down and say, okay, on their budget, gym, swimming, aquarobics, give you an allotment or a place for you to go dig up and do gardening. Things to get you fit and more active, more than big pharma, medication. That's social prescribing. And it's done on the GP's budget now in England. And that's what you need to aim for more. People who get it are the unwaged, the unemployed, people on lower incomes. The likes of me who is on a good work pension, state pension and work. I wouldn't be able to get it, but I'm not going to complain. The people who deserve it and need it the most, so that they get out of their chair in front of the TV and go and do things out there in the community. Control your blood glucose levels. This is one I like to talk about. Men in particular, when they go shopping, they buy all the reds. Just like how you have the red traffic light signal, and red means stop, danger. It's the same principle with the food labels. When you go into the supermarkets, look on the food labels. You are to buy food labels with more greens. Less sugar, less salt, less saturate, less oil, less fat. That is a healthier label you're looking at when it's more greens. Yes, a few ambers in it, but if you go pick them up with the whole heap of red, you're not doing your body any good. You're putting all the whole heap of oil and fat and sugars and stuff. So use that as your guide. Now, if you don't have the food traffic light signal, what you can do instead is look on the label and see it say how much % salt and how much % of it is sugar. That's another way to do it. And if you figure the figures are high, avoid it. Don't buy it. Are you with me? Are you with me? Okay. All right. Moving swiftly on. Now, this is controversial because I did something for the university last week, and some of them don't agree with it, but I'm afraid I was trained to say this. Just like how you have the kale, the callaloo, the apple, the mango, the nectarine, the satsuma, you are supposed to eat the thing the normal way. The Latin word is bolus, B-O-L-U-S. So you chew your food into a ball. The enzymes in here do what they're supposed to do. It goes down in here, the peptic acids and the amino acids do what they're supposed to do, and it dissipates all around the body. I will demonstrate when you have a smoothie, fruit or vegetable, what happens. It not go anywhere around here, sir. So I am saying you should not be drinking smoothies. Some people on the internet, when I was on the webinar, said, that's very controversial. I said, well, I know me, I say so. Diabetes UK, when they trained me, said, let people eat the kale, the carrot, the apple, the ripe banana, the normal way. So all of you who have blenders and so on, go put them aside. Are you with me? Okay? Your blenders is only when you cut up the fruits at Christmas time for putting on the Christmas cake. All right, moving swiftly on, we're coming to the end. I want you to read the benefits of water. We do not drink enough water. Please take a minute to look at the benefits you get from drinking water. All of you, read what the benefits of water are. No, you don't need to read it out loud. Just read it to yourself. What are the benefits of drinking water? Look at them. All right, now I'm going to tell you something. When the water, rainwater, drop from sky, is it fizzy? Is it carbonated? Is it sparkling? Is it aerated? So what the dickens when you're going into the supermarket and in the restaurant, go ask for sparkling water, fizzy water, carbonated water, aerated water. All of those, they put chemicals in them, and that can actually put weight on you. So plain water from God's sky, and that's the water may talk about. The water, the kidneys are there for a function and a reason, to flush the toxins and impurities out of your system. So when you look at your urine, it should be a light yellow, pale color. If it's anything than light and yellow, if it's dark, that means something wrong with your system. You better go see the GP. And if it stink or has a stench, something is wrong with your internal organs. Doctors tell me to tell everybody that. So I leave that with you. But the benefits of water. And remember, there's water in grapefruit, oranges, satsumas, naseberries, mangoes, melon, cantaloupe, and papaya. Water is in those as well. So that is part of your consumption as well. And that's for these kids who love the fizzy pop. Cut out the whole heap of fizzy pop. In my day, it was Kelly's and D&G, soft drinks. Oh, no, not supposed to be drinking all of this whole heap of fizzy stuff. That is diabetes waiting to come your way. The pancreas doesn't want that inside of it. Go for, if you're going to juice, orange juice, and when you're giving the kids the orange juice, when they're not looking, dilute it. Add some water to it. Because the most juices that are in the boxes now, what are they packed with? Sugar. Okay, so those are the sort of tips I'm leaving with you. I hope that you'll then take them on board as we go along. Those are the websites you can go to. Back in England, we go to them. Mine, by the way, is TonyKellyDiabetes@hotmail.com. You can go to that as well. But those are the websites you need to go to and look up Diabetes UK or the Jamaica Diabetes Association. Go to tried and tested websites, not the fake, false, phony ones that are around that want you to send them money, okay? And then whoops. What's happened there now? That looks as if it's gone. Sorry. It's frozen. I don't know what happened. But I'll close this down. I'm just going to do a food one with you quickly. Food quiz. I hope this works. Bear with me. Slideshow food.
Testing.
Well, right. Are you hearing me?
Yes. Go ahead, Mr. Kelly.
Is it coming up?
No, it's not coming up.
Somebody needs to help me.
It's there now.
Oh, it's there now. Right. Now, let me give you a joke about my father. My father used to say to me, food is the staff of life, but rum is life itself.
Rum?
Rum, because he was a drinker. But you answer this question for yourself. Do you eat to live, or do you live to eat? I'll leave you to answer that. And then I quickly go to these and see how good you are on these sorts of things. do people with diabetes need to follow a special diet? If you think so, raise your hand. If I have diabetes, I must follow a special diet. Okay, lots of hands are up. I'm going to pick on that woman with the red, lovely red tie. Tell us why people with diabetes must follow a special diet. Quickly.
I believe God gives us a good diet that we should have. Natural, plant-based products that are full of leafy greens and natural products and less of the process. It's just good for us overall.
Yes, I see the levels. I'm going to pick on this gentleman over here. Why should people follow a special diet?
It is, yes, so this diet, the plant-based diet, is proven to work. What it has done for me, it has kept me lean, and it's much easier to get work done. You're full of energy, less lethargic, and you're just more invigorated with life and so on.
Thank you. Now, the people who had put their hands up, you are all wrong. Nobody should follow a special diet. We all should eat a healthy, well-balanced diet. So back in the 60s and 70s in Whitehall, they used to put on a completely different pot for the people with diabetes than us, the children who didn't have it. There was no need for that. We all must eat a healthy, well-balanced diet. Now, let me move quickly on, coming to the end. Do people with diabetes need to stop eating rice? If you agree with that, put up your hand. Stop eating rice if you have diabetes. Nobody putting their hand up? You're all right. You're all correct. What I want you to do, for your own sake, and please do it, could you put your hand like that and look into the hand? Everybody's to do this, please. It's for your own benefit. The portion of rice you eat must fit in the palm of your hand. And people say, Lord Jesus told him he's a big man or a big woman. That now got me eye teeth. If you eat too much rice, diabetes is going to come your way. Because every carbohydrate, rice, bread, patty, cocoa bread, yam, blood glucose, that's what it is, breaks down into your body into blood glucose or blood sugar. However, these are the 3 rices you must eat more than any others. 3 rices. There are others, yes, but Diabetes UK said go for these 3. Brown rice, wild rice, W-I-L-D rice, wild rice, or basmati rice, white or brown. If you eat those and with the portion size, because remember on your dish, your plate, you'll have your meat, if you're a meat eater, you'll have your vegetables, etc. as well. You cannot be eating this whole heap of rice. Too much of one thing is good for? Okay, all right. Now quickly moving on. I'll just answer these instead of telling you, instead of asking you. I'm in the house of the Lord, but I will kill you for mango. As St. Thomas, me grew up. Mango, mango, mango. So, my doctor says to me, Tony, you are the exception to the rule. If the people in Jamaica wash your pot, turn them down, and mango. I used to sing with the Jamaica folk singers. You know that group? And Miss Olive used to take us all over the place, and she's died now, and so on. You cannot be eating all of them only for sweet mango there. But what I do, the mangoes come to Britain, live and direct, straight from Jamaica, the big box of Julie mango, and I go down to the wholesale market, and I buy them. And my doctor says, Tony, I am giving you permission to have 6, 7 Julie mango at a time. Me do Pilates, me do Zumba, me do acrobics, me do yoga, me climb the 30 stairs, me do the badminton, and do the swing. I am constantly burning up the calories. If you sit down there with a big ball of mango there, and you're not moving for 10, 12, 11 hours, you are going to be piling on pounds. Have I made that clear? And then the darker the banana skin, the ripe banana. When I was growing up in Jamaica, the banana then was that papa finger banana. Now the banana then long so. And you have to cut it in half and half now. The darker the banana skin is, the sweeter it is. So you need to go for, and what you need to go for, please, It's blackberries, blueberries, strawberries, and raspberries. The berries are very good for you. Blackberries, blueberries, strawberries, and raspberries. I know the blueberries are very expensive, but the fiber in the blueberries is very, very good for your digestive system. All say yes or no to this. Do people with diabetes need to eat more vegetables? All say yes. So when I was growing up as a child, and my grandmother would sit me down, and on it would be the lettuce, and the callaloo, and the cabbage, and the corn, and the sweet pepper, and she would have the strap, and she would say, eat the vegetable. I said, no, I'm not eating that. That is rabbit food and guinea pig food. And every time she try and hit me, me just bop and weave and move around. You need to get your children, and you as adults must eat more vegetables on your plate. It is of vital importance that you do that, instead of just a whole heap of carbohydrates. Red onion, red cabbage. But one thing I'm going to ask you not to do, red meat. I am begging you to cut down on your red meat. So we're talking oxtail, we're talking curry goat, we're talking beef, and we're talking lamb. The less red meat you have in the diet is the better for you. And go instead for chicken, game, poultry, and go for fish. Okay? I know within the 7-day Adventist Friends' faith, you don't go for the prawns and the crab. I can understand that and appreciate that. But more fish in your diet and more poultry. And I know you don't eat pork, but pork is classed as white meat. Those are the ones you should be going for if you're going to go for meats. Dal and beans, that's lentils. The more pulses, lentils you have in your system, the better. The only one I'll tell you to stay away from is baked beans. Baked beans is packed with sugar and salt. Coconut oil. Focus, those who are remaining behind. The people next to you need to hear what's being said. 1 minute we say coconut oil good for you. Then minutes and then change their mind. Then they say good, then go change their mind. A coconut oil grow me up at Whitehall St. Thomas and it never kill me. But you need to go for boil, bake, steam, grill, and roast. Boil, bake, steam, grill, and roast. Less of the fry-ups. And let me tell you something. One of the best foods out there, from me growing up, is fried dumpling or Johnny cake. In some countries, they call it bake. Then we start come here, and we go to Hellshire Beach. And then, remember, we taste one something, and we have to spit it out. In the dumpling, then put sugar and call it festival. What the dickens in putting sugar in dumpling, which is just as nice as ever? Cut it out, because that is more sugar you're putting into the flour, the dumpling, which is already blood glucose, blood sugar. So may I beg you know, if you ever invite me to your home, don't give me festival. I'm going to have to tell you, no thank you, I don't want it. I don't eat that, because that is more sugar piled upon more sugar. Are you with me? So boil, bake, steam, grill, and roast. Cut out you can't cut out all sugars, because some of the processed foods having sugars, and some sugar is needed in your body. But less is more, moderation in all things. And don't go for that sweet chocolate. Go for the dark chocolate, which is 70 to 80 to 90% cocoa. It's bitter, but it's made from cocoa beans. And instead of that will take you 2 minutes to eat that. The proper cocoa bean one, the 70 to 80, will take you 3 months because it's bitter and tastes bad. But it is better for you. Okay? Diabetic jam. No, 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 no. On the label it says no added sugar. Of course it doesn't have any added sugar. They put sweeteners or saccharines in it. Sweeteners or saccharines for some people can be carcinogenic or cancerous. Have plain brown sugar or liquor honey. Not white sugar, brown sugar, but in small doses, or honey. Nobody fool for this saccharines and all of that thing. It's not good for you. Salt. Everybody in here should know salt causes what? Hypertension or high blood pressure. We need to cut down on our salt intake. So, the salt from the table salt is no good for you. My daughter's husband is a chef. He says they deliberately salt the food. Why? Come on. Huh? Why do they salt the food in the restaurants and give it to you? Flavor? No. I hear it. It makes you drink more. So instead of asking for water, when they come around, how is the food? Oh, I need a wine, I need a sherry, I need a beer, I need a lager, because the taste buds are so salty. You need to get wise to it and tell them, say, you know what? I would like a jug of water. Then mouth long from here, so to Palisadoes Airport or whatever they call it now. Because that wasn't the answer they was expecting. Get wise to it and have more water and less salt on your food. And that's why they deliberately salt the food in these places to make your drink bill can be more than your food bill. Trust me. So get wise to that, okay? And the salt from the Himalayas is the best salt to go for. The Himalayas, the highest mountain in the world, it's pink salt, pink in color, and that is natural salt. But what I want you to do is use these instead. Basil, dill, cloves, pimento, onion, garlic, sage. What are those? What are those? Herbs and spices. Cut down on your salt for high blood pressure and hypertension. Coming to the end, this is used in the Asian community, Karela. It's a bitter melon or bitter gourd, which they use to season up their meats. 3 meals a day. It's called breaking the fast. You remove the ing and you remove the they. You put the break and the fast together. What you get? You have to decide amongst yourselves what you want to have. Some people do intermittent fasting. I don't eat under normal circumstances. I don't eat until 11 o'clock. That's my... So I intermittent fast after the night before I finish at 6:30. Nothing goes into the stomach to interfere with the thing till 11 o'clock. And this is what so some people have 3 meals a day, some have smaller portion sizes and have 5 meals a day. You have to decide, but never make children go to school on an empty stomach. And fill them up a packet of crisps and pop. You give them something substantial to eat so that they can concentrate and focus better at school. Are you with me? Now, fish. Quickly tell you, the more oily fish you have in your diet, it wards off dementia, Alzheimer's, and senility. Eat more fish, oily fish, sardine, pilchards, tuna, sprat, mackerel. Now, that woman just said salmon. Let me tell you something about salmon. The salmon in England, they farm it, and they give it all these pink pellets. And when you see it on the supermarket shelves, it is this lovely pink color. The pellets, I am told, are carcinogenic or cancerous. You need to go for the salmon from the wild of Alaska, from way up in Scotland and the Alaska. Red salmon. It's far better for you than this pink salmon that people are thinking. That's why we no longer have tilapia fish. Most of the tilapia fish is farmed, and they give it all of these whole heap of chemicals and so on. No. Can't be good for you. But Tony Kelly didn't say go down to the fish and chip shop in Birmingham or London or Manchester and get that oily fish. That is 3 times a year. Okay? Now, let me tell you what I do when I get up and have something at 11 o'clock. I squeeze a lemon in warm water every single morning for the last probably 12, 13 years. A lemon in warm water. And I drink that. One's acidic and one's alkaline. The stomach is one and the lemon is the other. That warms up the stomach, and it's the best thing you can do to start your day. At 11 o'clock I do that. However, dentists have told me you don't just drink the warm lemon like that because it will erode the enamel on your teeth. You have to drink it through a drinking straw. Warm lemon still, but through a drinking straw. Are you with me? Not everybody will want to do that. Some people say, can you use lime? I've never used lime, and I can't get lemon over here. So I go in the supermarket, and I buy a bottle of lemon juice, has the same effect, and I use it with warm water. Stop smoking if alcohol. Within your community, you don't use alcohol. But alcohol, you still pile on pounds, whether it's beer, lager, vodka, whatever, rum, spirits, all alcohol consumption, you're piling on the pounds. And if you do smoke, I urge you to stop smoking. And I have one more to end with, and this will take 2 minutes, and then I'll close off. I want you to see the cultural myths that are out there. Cultural myths and misconceptions. It's very good to hear what people are thinking, and some of you in here might hold some of these views. So this is the last set, and then I'm finished. From beginning, cultural myths and misconceptions. Here is the first one coming up. Asians like to use the bitter melon or bitter gourd. In the black community, we use aloe vera, tuna, and then of course there's Think Bible. It's herbal remedies. So I'm not going to stand here and poo-poo herbal remedies and say you mustn't use them. When I was growing up as a child, my grandmother never gave me Panadol, Fensic, paracetamol, ibuprofen, wasn't even around then. If I had a fever, she sent me outside to go get some bush, and when she done rub me up, the next morning me back at school. And you know what she did one year? A maca, as a 10-year-old boy, went into my foot. She said, me forgot to get one green banana, and she heat up the banana with kerosene oil, and she wrap around my foot. I'll never forget that. When me wake up the next morning, the maca or the thorn was no longer in my foot. That's a herbal remedy. So I'm not going to sit down here and say, oh, well, me should have gone to a doctor, make the doctor use pin and needle and some to take out the maca. Those are old wives' tales which are still true to this day. Are you with me? Right, so I can't just dismiss them. Coming to the end, herbal remedies, moving swiftly on. Me like white people, but white sugar, white flour, and white bread is a no-no. Hard-dough bread comes into the Kelly household 3 times a year. And people say, what? Christmas, Easter, and Independence. Other than that, we don't eat hard-dough bread. You need to go for granary bread, brown bread, or bran bread, and rye bread as well. Those are much better for you, okay? Cut down on this. Diabetes is a touch of sugar. Anybody still agree with that? Okay. Big is beautiful. Sometimes you will see the woman going down the lane, the village, the country lane, or the alley, or so on. The man is as slim as a rake, mager. Next to him is his duchess, his queen, his princess. This size. They feed them up in some cultures and some societies to make them have the big boobs and the big bottom. And then you see the man, yes, I've conquered. Look for my queen next to me, my duchess or my princess. They must stop it because that is a recipe for disaster. Okay? Now here's the one. Let me see how much I was playing at it. Oh, diabetes is an old person's condition. Is that so? Not anymore, probably in the 60s and 70s. But the children as young as 10, 11, 12, 13 are now developing type 2 diabetes. Is that not correct? All right? So you need to be careful about what they're eating and making them do more physical activity. Let me see how much I was paying attention. A big belly is a sign of a happy marriage. If the man go out there and he look mager, the man say, Lord, the missus now feed him. She now, what size should all women be from the belly button? Huh? Not 31. So 21. 21. That's what a skin and bone. 31 and a half. What size should black men and white men? 37. And what size should Asian men be? 30? 35. 35. And is it down at the trouser size, yes, sir? Where is it? The belly button or navel string. Just 3 more to go, then I'm finished. In some communities, they have all of this rich food in them larder. The pan, the donut, and the cream cake, and the this and the that and the that. That is just diabetes waiting to happen. All of that sugary stuff and so on. You notice the one they get strawberry and put in there for fancy it up? I would rather see more fruits in the larder. I know I've just been through burial, and me going everywhere, and me can't get no fruits for buy. And the few fruits that me see, them look so fluxy and tan bad, that me say, no, me can't eat those. But less of this and more fruits. Oh, it's God's will. The Bible, the Holy Quran, or the Muslim faith say you're going to get diabetes. Just accept it. Nowhere in the Holy Bible or the Quran does it say that. So we have to correct that myth. Oh, it's a mild condition. Everyone has it. What's the big deal? What are they going on about? It's no big deal. It is a big deal. If you have diabetes, you can't find a husband, you won't have children. My stepmother in Canada, she had type 1. So she had to inject every day, 3 times a day. What she eventually did, she conceived late in life, and I have a half-sister in Canada, Julie, who has 2 children, and then the 2 children have had grandchildren. This is the last slide. If you fast during Ramadan, and you prick your finger during the Ramadan fast, you have broken the fast. Absolute rubbish, but some people in the Muslim faith firmly believe that. And we have to go into those communities and tell them that is not so. And ladies and gentlemen, that's the end. Thanks for your patience and time with me.
All right, we want to thank Brother Kelly for that wonderful presentation. And I know that we would have learned a lot. And any questions you have, you can ask him afterwards. All right, Dr. Wilson will, don't move, will do the presentation. She's coming around. So we have a little token of gratitude to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you were blessed. Mr. Tony Kelly, I take it a great pleasure to meet you, finally. And thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come here and to speak to us and to give us so many practical tips. I appreciate the way that you present, that you talk about your personal experience, and you make it real for us. You've used so many examples that we can relate to. I have a small gift here for you from the Washington Garden Seventh-day Adventist Church, which is just a small token to say thank you so much for coming here today. Thank you. All right. Praise God.
Thanks for having me. I'm on the tour right until the 21st, and I'm actually going to Bath Seventh-day Adventist Church all the way down in Westmoreland. So tell your Seventh-day Adventist fraternity, I have the schedule here somewhere. If you want to come and look at it, I'm doing St. Thomas, I'm doing Portland, I'm doing 9 parishes in total. I want bums on seats. I mean, I want to go. This is a lovely audience. I went to Holy Childhood High School. Dr. Gambele put on one there, and about 140 people turned up. I can't come all the way from England to talk to empty benches. So if you know of any communities, have a look, take a photograph of the schedule, and send it to them and say, go listen to this man, this young man. Less of the young. And they'll learn a lot. That's why I'm here doing these things. I'm passionate about getting the message across to black people. We don't need to suffer in silence. We don't need to die prematurely. We need to be pro-social modeling and lead by example. And I know the Seventh-day Adventist Church do the right things, but sometimes you need reminders. So that's why I'm here. Okay, thank you.
Amen. We just want to thank you again. And we know these are reminders. What we heard, we will just share it. All right, so before we go, we'll just sing God Be With You, and I'll just give you the few announcements. We'll go together after 2. 1, 2. God be with you till we meet again. By his counsel's guide uphold you. With his sheep securely fold you. God be with you till we meet again. Till we meet, till we meet, till we meet at Jesus' feet. just a reminder, we continue with our weekly services tomorrow night at 7 and Wednesday night, and then we will have on Sabbath, we have our final communion this Sabbath, the 16th of November, our final communion. All right, we see our Sunday evening service presenter, and we go through Wednesday, and we continue with our prayer tower daily, and then next week Sunday will be, which is the 17th of November, will be the beginning of our Pathfinders week. So as our Pathfinders and adventurers prepare themselves to minister for you throughout the week, we just ask for your prayers, and parents, send them out to the various practices that you will get your notifications from. So we just ask you to keep these programs in mind. Again, also, if you are interested in going to the dinner, you can see anyone from the Family Life Department. And we also have our stewardship coming up, and there we have it, our church dinner. So anyone from Family Life Department, you can see, put down your names, and they'll give you what you need. Do have yourself all right, and our music week coming up as well, and you get further information. Do you have yourself a wonderful and a blessed week.